Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Israel. Man, I hope everybody's having a blessed day, able to rest. Man, today, the Sabbath Day teaching is about bearing false witness. And this happens more than people realize. Oftentimes, I won't have no idea what Shep or any of the Sheps is teaching. And I will have, like, I want to say, I posted this one and going live last night, and the actual teaching I prepared Thursday. But it's very good because you have multiple men that are moving in the spirit that are reinforcing stuff that often gets overlooked. You know, if you didn't catch Pastor Mir's teaching, go back and check that out. Go back and check that out. That was a solid teaching. Solid teaching. You know, in this daytime and hour, people get so caught up on what they call major sins that they overlook the small stuff. They overlook keeping your word. They overlook, you know, being very vain. And people are quick to call out this stuff that they deem as major when you should be trying to adhere to all of it. So I'm just coming behind to just reinforce and to make sure those that maybe didn't catch the message, you know, to make sure you get fed. All right. Man, many people, you know, were not able to keep the Sabbath. And it's not because there was something stopping them, it was their own belief. Many did not enter in due to unbelief. And for the people of the Most High, Yah, there remaineth that we should strive to enter into that rest. At 3 p.m., I am going to address biblical marriage and divorce. And this is a conversation that needs to be had amongst men. And I'm going to talk about why a lot of men huff and puff behind this screen, waste time calling out other men, and then don't defend what they stand for. Man, you have people out here that think that fruit is having a YouTube channel, having multiple YouTube channels. I heard that crap today. I said enough is enough, because the boys will be separated from the men. And in order for those boys to be made men, they have to learn the way of a man. It's not just because you grew up and you physically matured and you aged. It's a lot of grown men walking around with the mind of a 10-year-old. And you have been allowed to just go through life, and you've ducked clear of being tested, getting that iron sharpened. So that's coming about at 3 p.m. The thumbnail is two men in a debate, and I'm gonna speak very, very boldly, and there's chances are that if you got a soft spirit, you may not like it. So tune in for that one. All right, Exodus chapter 20, verse 8 through 11. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your Yah. On it you shall not do any work, or your daughter, you or your son or your daughter, your male servant or your female servant, or your livestock, or the sojourner who is with you within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heaven and the earth, the sea and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Therefore, the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. The time zone for that will be Central Standard Time. My current time is 1:05 p.m. So in almost just shy of 2 hours, I'll go live again and we'll be addressing this. And it's a very gonna be a powerful message that men need to hear. All men. It don't matter where you come from, doesn't matter what you believe, what you stand for. This right here is what it's gonna come down to. All right. So a key part of understanding and being able to test the spirit in somebody, to be able to see if somebody is a false witness. Oftentimes people can't do that because you don't have discernment. You don't discern anything. You have no antivirus that protects you from entertaining foolishness. You have no security, no defense that you can run something through to be like, that's not what it is. 1 John chapter 4, verse 1. Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirit to see whether they are from the Most High, for many false prophets have gone out into the world. People are very good. You got to understand a part of being a false prophet is they're going to tell you something that's false, that's void. Oftentimes, a false witness will tell you about what they're going to do to make it look like they got fruit, but they're not actually going to do any of that. Politicians are very, very good at it. Oh, we're going to bring change in this. And you let a year go by, whole term go by, 2 terms go by. They ain't done none of that. The people are worse off. Verse 10, so that you may approve what is excellent and so be pure and blameless for the day of Hamashiach. 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 9 through 10. Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge the people, that I may discern between good and bad. Who is able to judge this, thy so great a people? And the speech pleased the Lord that Solomon had asked this thing, that I may discern. Hebrew word 995, to separate mentally. To separate mentally or distinguish spiritually. Understand, have intelligence, to know, look well to mark, perceive, be prudent, to regard, to view, understand with wisdom. That's when you think about discernment, that's the etymology of that. Romans chapter 12, verse 2, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is good and acceptable and perfect in the will of Yah. May prove, Greek 1381, examine, discern, to test, to scrutinize, recognize as genuine after examining, deem worthy. Man, oftentimes you'll realize when you're talking about false witness, people get offended when you examine them, when you discern what they're telling you, or you discern their actions, when you test them, when you scrutinize them, when you want to validate if they're genuine, when you want to see if they're worthy. That's what offends a lot of people. Take my word for it. I'm good for it. They don't want you to take into account their track record of not keeping their word. People tell you all the time, God told me to tell you. People making millions off of saying that. You didn't test the spirit. You didn't examine. You didn't see if it was worthy. based upon what the book says, you ran with it. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14. The natural person does not accept the things of the Spirit of the Most High, for they are folly or foolishness to him, and he is not able to understand them because they are spiritually discerned. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 19 through 24. Do not quench the spirit, the ruach. Do not despise prophecies, but test everything. Hold fast to what is good. Abstain from every form of evil. So you're listening to prophecy. It's telling you to test it. People are going to give you false statements, false things to come. Now may the Yah of peace himself sanctify you completely, and may your whole spirit and soul and body be kept blameless at the coming of our Lord, Yahushua HaMashiach. He who calls you is faithful. He will surely do it. Proverbs chapter 2, verse 1 through 5. My son, if you receive my words and treasure up my commandments with you, making your ear attentive to wisdom. That's not talking. That's listening. That's being in receive mode. And inclining your heart to understanding. Man, there's a difference between righteous wisdom and carnal knowledge. Man, people pay for religious education and it won't do you no good in the end. You know why? Because it's not righteous wisdom. And you stay stuck because of that. Verse 3, yes, if you call out for insight and raise your voice for understanding, if you seek it like silver and search for it as for hidden treasures, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find knowledge of Yah. So I want you to realize, if some of these people on the internet, they strive to seek out views and an online following. Man, if they were to search for truth and wisdom as much as they did in other areas, then they would have understanding. You know, when you think about a false witness, the first part of that, false, it's a lie. It's not the truth. This is what I said. We live in a daytime and hour where people want to say they want to have big sins and little sins. Oh, that's adultery and that's fornication and sexual marriage. But it's this little stuff that's going to get you caught up on the day of judgment. It's this stuff that you gloss over. Don't think twice about. Walk around saying you an honest person. So let's look up, you know, when you do some research, the common things people lie about. You are a witness. And to be false, that means you got to lie. You're a lying witness, okay? On average, statistically, the average person lies 1 to 2 times a day. You like, I don't lie no 1-2 times a day. This goes to show you that instead of spending so much time on the major stuff, your walk comes down to this. Man, a lot of these pastors get up in the pulpit and just lie. Well, the Bible says it was 3 wise men. Wait a minute. Hold up. Pause. Some of these people been bearing false witness. People have been telling lies for 30, 40, 50 years. Don't have understanding. They seeking out them doggone tithes and offerings, but they need to be seeking out wisdom from the Most High. Okay, 60% of people lie at least once in a 10-minute conversation. Woo! Here we go. Men lie 6 times a day on average, while women lie 3 times a day on average. This is statistics. I'm just pulling it. 40% of people lie on their resume. That's a way of the world. Well, just kind of fluff it up a little bit. Just kind of fluff it up. Man, let me get your resume. Copying and pasting stuff that you don't know how to do. Bro, come on now. This is that stuff that you think you getting away with. And just because the Most High Yah is not expedient in issuing judgment, you keep on doing it. 90% of people lie on their online dating profile. You got people out here catfishing, filters. But you go into church for an hour and a half and you think, oh, I got it. I'm righteous. It's this stuff. 80% of women admit to lying to their partners about their spending habit. This is not nothing that I just came up with. This is, if you Google things people lie about, they're going to come up with some statistics. 50% of teenagers admit to lying to their parents about their whereabouts. Come on now. Come on. So before we get into the witness part, we got to get to the bottom, the lie. We got to get to the lie part. Think about that. Where you at? Oh, I'm at a friend's house. You over there laid up in between some legs. You over there getting your back blown out. Knowing good and well your parents won't lie. What you do? Lie about it. First part about being a false witness is being a liar. We're going to get to the part where you start lying on other people. People are more likely to lie over the phone than face to face. 81% of people lie about their height, weight, or age online. Politicians lie on average once every 5 minutes during a debate. Come on. Here's another one. You know good and well something wrong. This in a relationship. Something's wrong. You ain't ready to address it. What's wrong with you? Nothing. I'm fine. None's wrong. Good and well something bothering you. Hey, I was stuck in traffic. Why was you late? What happened to you? I was stuck in traffic. Come on, we getting minute to the bottom of these lies. In the last day, we just can't gloss over this stuff. Rather than saying, hey, I overslept, and taking what come with that, being counted as honest, being counted as righteous. Man, you know that traffic was crazy. It was an accident. Yep, bumper to bumper traffic. You look great in that. Girl, I like your outfit. Your woman asks, hey, how does this look? Oh, you look great. And you know good and well, she probably might need to take it off and switch to something else. I only had one beer. How many beers you didn't have? How many you been drinking tonight? No, I ain't been drinking. My phone died. This is common stuff people lie about. Man, I ain't have no way to contact you. Generally, after that phone died, I didn't have no way to contact you. I never got the message. I'll call you right back. Woo! I'll call you right back. My phone's been acting weird. Got to get a new phone. Man, it wasn't that expensive. I don't care as much about looks as much as personality. This is when we get to the bottom of this. I've only slept with X amount of people. We read all through the book. The bride price for a virgin. People lying about their body count rather than being honest. Hey, man, I didn't slept with a lot of people. You'd be better off saying, man, I didn't slept with a lot of people and I know it wasn't right. And I'm trying to walk upright. I'm not moving like that. Not no more. If you're looking for that, I'm not your guy. I'm not your woman. Somebody come up to you and they act like they know you. And you like, man, I don't know this person. And they may not actually know you, but you look like them. And you sit up and say, man, I remember you. Yeah, yeah, carrying on. You don't understand something, but you don't want to look stupid. You don't want to hold up others from learning. So what do? I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. Then when you get put on the spot, explain it to me. Teachers have a good way of doing this. You get into a dispute or you trying to terminate a relationship, exit a relationship. It's not you, it's me. You ain't do nothing wrong. It's me. Here's another one. I work out at least 5 times per week. Man, as a certified personal trainer, strength and conditioning coach, nutritionist, back when I was doing that, man, I'd be doing intakes for people and they'd just be sitting up there lying. Oh, I'm like, how can we get anywhere when I can't even get a good assessment of what you need because you're lying? I try to get out and get 15,000 steps a day. I ain't eating nothing but salad and using light salad. What? You go visit some of these people, to do they monthly weigh and stuff like that, and you look in the pantry. Oh no. When you could have just told the truth. It's not like you weren't gonna get help. You don't want to be at work. You want to get out of something. I got an appointment. Here's another one. Co-workers leave, moving on to another job. Y'all done built up like a workplace relationship. That's what it is, a workplace relationship. And you sit up here and say, man, I'll keep in touch. Number sit in your phone for years. Credible witnesses. Credible witnesses. All witnesses are not credible. A credible witness is a witness who comes across as competent and worthy of belief. So if you got a doggone delusional witness, they're not a credible witness. That's why they don't let people with certain mental issues testify, because it's spaghetti up there. Their testimony is assumed to be more than likely true due to their experience, knowledge, sometimes training, and sense of honesty. Generally, you have to think about a lie detector test. They're going to ask you things that people generally lie about. Have you ever slept with another woman while being, they're going to ask you questions like that. And you got to think, to have a security clearance and to work in the government, they're going to ask you these questions. If you got the doggone have a security clearance, you got to get a polygraph sometimes. Some people run from that because why? They don't want to tell the truth. What is the difference between credible and reliable witnesses? Credibility has to do with the person's veracity, which is the conformity with truth or facts. Some people cannot receive truth, and their credibility is shot because of it. You rather believe lies or truthfulness, whereas reliability deals with the accuracy of a witness testimony. That's why we have to test it. We have to exploit the testimony to see if it's false. That's where people generally get mad. Accuracy involves considerations of the witness ability to accurately observe, recall, and recount events and issue. Just breaking down fundamentally what this thing is about. Exodus chapter 20, verse 16. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. See, it's one thing to be lying on yourself. That's one thing. A lot of people don't even like to deal with that. And they, for dang sure, don't like to deal with being a false witness against their neighbor. A lot of people like to bear false witness, start all this foolishness, and then when they get their card pulled, they want to act like they part of the solution, and you didn't spread these lies. False. Hebrew word 8267. Untruth, a sham, without cause, falsehood, liar, lie, lying, vain, deception. What deceives? Prophesy wrong things. Witness, H5707. Recorder, testimony, what testifies, bearing a thing occurred. To charge, to record, call to testify. Galatians 5:13 through 15. For you were called to freedom, brothers. Only do not use your freedom as an opportunity for the flesh, but through love serve one another. For the whole law is fulfilled in one word: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. But if you bite and devour one another, watch out that you are not consumed by one another. And that's what doggone spreading lies does. I'll tell you that this system that we live, especially in the West, is built upon lies. Some people find it offensive when you say Christopher Columbus never set foot on this soil. They've been sold lies and they've placed their belief in lies. And it's what you find out is they have hope, they got optimism, but they don't have faith. You have the people that have went out and sold and gave false testimonies. They didn't try to create all this artwork and all of this. And the Messiah that they got you believing in is not the Messiah in the book. It's not the Messiah in the book. And then when somebody shows you the book, all of a sudden you're offended because you want to believe a lie. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 7 through 12. For the Egyptians shall help in vain. So you have people that say, man, it was my intent to help, but it was worthless. The help was worthless. And to no purpose, therefore have I cried concerning this. Their strength is to sit still. Now go, write it before them in a table and a note in a book, that it may be for the time to come forever and ever, that this is a rebellious people, lying children. He's letting us know in our natural state, we some rebellious, lying children. And it's not until we learn about his judgments, what he commands us, through his law, statutes, and precepts, that we can ever walk upright. Children that will not hear the law of the Lord. I'm going to address this right here, the law of the Lord, in that doggone live at 3 p.m. Because people love going to Paul, like Paul was Paul was writing law. People love doing that, and they'll bear witness in a heartbeat against their neighbor. And it's saying the rebellious people and lying children, they're the ones that don't want to hear the law. Verse 10, which say to the seers, think about this. You tuning in to stuff that you know is false because you don't want to hear the truth. See not unto the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things. So I don't want to hear nothing about no truth. Speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceit, lies, deception, something that's false. Get you out of the way, turn aside out of the path, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. Wherefore thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because you despise this word and trust in oppression and perverseness and stay thereon. Exodus chapter 23, verse 7. Keep far from a false charge. Now, only way you're going to know if something is false is if you test it in righteousness. Some of this stuff doesn't even pass what many would call common sense. A lot of the stuff that goes on that people instead of keeping far from it, they run towards a false charge. Why? Because it's juicy. Makes for a juicy story. TMZ, example of that. They're paying a lot of money for juicy stories, and you got a whole business built on being false witnesses if the information they're putting forward is not the truth. Man, there's some times on this walk, you may take a stance and bear a false statement. And there's time, even on this channel, man, I had to come, I realized I watched an older video. I said, man, I got to remove that and make a video sitting for, because that wasn't it, due to your level of understanding. You have a lot of people, they're not going to go backwards to redo it to make sure, okay, I'm not putting anything false in front. Keep far from a false charge and do not kill the innocent and righteous. Think about this. You have in law enforcement, you have some good and you have some bad. You have some that will build a case on somebody that they know is innocent just to have a conviction rate, a high conviction rate. Just say they don't have to go through the process, as long as it may be, to actually find out who did it. Oh, we just gonna stick it on him. He got this long rap sheet. We're gonna stick it. This stuff happens. For I will not acquit the wicked. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 11 through 12. You shall not steal. You shall not deal falsely. You shall not lie with one another. You shall not swear by my name falsely. But think about how many people sit up here and say, God told me to tell you. This the year you're going to be a millionaire. What? Wait a minute. This the year you're going to get a husband. And people go wild for it. People go wild because they want to be prophesied to see. And the book tells us. And so profane the name of your Yah, I am the Lord. Leviticus 19:16. You shall not go around as a slanderer among your people. And you shall not stand up against the life of your neighbor. I am the Lord. You don't even realize in the workplace, some people get fired because they start foolishness. It doesn't have anything to do with you not doing good work. You did a good work, but there's a lot of foolishness that comes with you. You go around and spread stuff that you haven't validated as true. You know the boss sleeping with such and such. You go around just starting foolishness. Your actual work ethic might be good. It could be even better if you wasn't focused on foolishness. You know, that brother said he slept with her. This is the kind of foolish when people just, and it sounds juicy, and you be like, for real? It says, keep far from a, here's another one. When people are bearing this false charge, a quick way to test it, if somebody's coming to you, is say, hey, is what you about to tell me true? What did you do to prove it? No, man, just, such and such just told me. I thought you want to know. What? And then the next part, okay? Since what you are about to tell me is not true, who does it do any benefit for? What good does it do? Man, I just thought you wanted to know. You have to put a check to this. You have to test it. Man, you had, I don't when the word says, man, we are rebellious, lying children, man, you have mamas, daddies, brothers, sisters, husbands, and wives, and people will tell you the part of the story that makes them look good. I deal with that a lot. Tell you the part of the story that makes you look good, so you got your own agenda behind bearing false witness. You go into the supervisor trying to shame somebody else, lying on them, also you can move up. Dog eat dog world. Most High Yah is not going to bless you like that. You might as well give a true testimony. Hey, that brother or sister, they're a hard worker. And I think if anybody would get the position, they would do the position some good because of their work ethic, what they stand for. Now, 9 times out of 10, people don't do that. When you're sometimes an employer will ask you what you think about your peers just to see what your agenda is, to see if you will insert yourself where you're actually being tested to see what kind of witness are you. Are you a credible witness? You a reliable witness? Or you a false witness? Proverbs chapter 6 verse 19, a false witness who breathes out lies and one who sows discord among brothers. A lot of these brothers out here that's moving out here right now are sowing a lot of discord. It's one thing to disagree. It's another thing to understand, but being a false witness, that's in its own lane. And oftentimes when people sow discord among brothers, especially in Israel, you don't never get no apology. You don't never get no apology. Slandering their name. Man, people could have lost a family. People could have lost the way that they provide for themselves. You got to think, man, sometimes it sucks that I got to say this, but you will have a woman who is unmarried, want a husband so bad, she'll lie on that doggone man. The woman will believe her, and then she gonna shoot her shot at the man. Happens all the time. And vice versa. A man want a woman so bad, he gonna doggone lie on the man, the woman gonna doggone leave, and then he gonna move in. You had an agenda. Your agenda is not righteous. Proverbs 14 verse 5, a faithful witness does not lie, but a false witness breathes out lies. Oh, it was just a little lie. It didn't hurt nobody. Where in the book do you see that the Most High Yah is okay with you telling little lies? It ain't nothing but a little white lie. Little white lie. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 17 through 25. Now this I say and testify in the Lord, that you must no longer walk as the Gentiles do in the fertility of their minds. You'll be walking around being proud to be a Gentile. What? They are darkened in their understanding, alienated from the life of Yah because of the ignorance that is in them due to the hardness of their heart. Man, you got Israelites that call themselves Israel, whether it be in lineage or bloodline, but they got the mind of a Gentile. They have the mind of a Gentile, and it starts with them despising the law of the Most High. They have become callous, hardened, and have given themselves up to sensuality, greed, to practice every kind of impurity. But that is not the way you learn Hamashiach, assuming that you have heard about him and were taught in him as the truth in Yahushua, to put off your old self, which belongs to the former manner of life and is corrupt through deceitful desires. The desire to lie, the desire to sin, and to be renewed in the spirit of minds, and to put on the new self, created after the likeness of the Most High Yah in true righteousness and holiness. Therefore, having put away falsehood, let each one of you speak the truth with his neighbor, for we are members of one another. All of this foolishness going on, when we start to put it to test and we start looking at credible witness, reliable witness, false witness, you realize people will give a false testimony and be a false witness to save themselves, to avoid judgment. And you're not avoiding it for long. Just because he's not dealing with you right now, chances are you think you got away with it and you keep on doing evil, as the book says. Exodus chapter 23, verse 1 through 2. You shall not spread a false report. You got to think about it. In the topic of virginity, you have people that will spread a false report so that the virgin does not get, the bride price. Nobody's interested. Oh man, that she's a hoe. She's a harlot. She's a slut. Man, that man ain't no good. People will spread a false report in a heartbeat with the agenda that's wicked. Man, that man don't he ain't no good. He's sorry, he dusty. In your heart, you are not righteous enough to get them honestly. So you shame the man in the process, shame the woman in the process. Look at this thing now where other women that want to live lawless are calling other women pick-me's, trying to shame the women that actually want to do this stuff in the book. Blows my mind. You have men that'll spread a false report and hate because they're not the kind of man that they see another man being, and they desire that type, but they don't want to go through the process to be that man. So what's the best thing? We're gonna tear this man down because he's actually walking in some righteous masculinity. We're gonna tear this. We're gonna spread a false report because a whole bunch of masculine women. We don't want no doggone feminine woman, a righteous woman with a meek and quiet spirit. That exposes our masculinity and how rebellious we are. This is what happens. That's the way of the world. You shall not fall in with many to do evil. What's people doing right now? Jumping on the bandwagon. You ain't proved, you ain't discerned, nothing. You ain't went to the book. You didn't looked at one or two passages in scripture that's not Torah and then bear false witness. Looking at the teachings of Paul. I can't make this up. Can't make it up. Nor shall you bear witness in a lawsuit, siding with many, so as to pervert justice. You see what I'm saying? Justice was served. He got what they deserved. It's not justice. It's not righteous justice. Proverbs chapter 12, verse 17. Whoever speaks the truth gives honest evidence. There could be somebody that is your enemy. And even if it's your enemy, man, you don't get no room in righteousness to lie even on your enemy. As a woman, it's a woman you don't like. As a man, that's a man you don't like. You don't even get the whiff, just a centimeter of room in righteousness to lie on somebody. Even if they didn't done wrong the whole time. Finally got what they deserved. Treating all them women like that. She thought she wasn't gonna have to pay for her actions. You sitting up lying on people talking about karma. Man, if you don't have no evidence or no fruit that can be evidence, don't say nothing at all. Hey, that person been my neighbor for 5-10 years, but I didn't witness any of that. You'll be counted as righteous. You sit up in there, I always saw, I knew something was a little off. You start subtly adding that statement in there. I saw one time where he touched it like this. I saw this time where she was, moving like. You start trying to craftily put in a false statement. And then you say, well, I would never lie. People say, to be honest, only to see somebody else fall. Proverbs chapter 21, verse 28. A false witness will perish. It's a matter of time. Hopefully you reach repentance, you reach deliverance. Hopefully you come back and recant your state. Sometimes it eats people up. The judgment that they have to deal with in their own life, they can't sleep, they can't function. Their mind is constantly wondering because justice was served on somebody based upon a false statement. And they come out and say, hey, man, I gave a false statement. I did that out of anger. I did that out of hatred. People tell you, man, I was forced. It'd be better off you lose your life and you rot away in a jail cell than to give a false statement. False witness will perish, but the word of a man who hears will endure. Proverbs 19:9. A false witness will not go unpunished, and he who breathes out lies will perish. Proverbs 19:28. A worthless witness mocks at justice, and the mouth of the wicked devours iniquity. You love lawlessness. Love lawlessness. Man, you can hear something and you might not have understanding. The Most High Yah may have not unlocked your understanding in that area. And what you do, either you move in silence, you move and say, hey, I don't disagree with that, and keep it pushing, or you start saying, that's false, you're this, you're that. And you don't even have the Most High Yah is not going to remove this judgment of you being a false witness because you rose up boldly when it would have been counted as wise not to even say anything. Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 16 through 21. If a malicious, they don't say loving, it says malicious. If a caring witness, and all malicious witnesses arise to accuse a person of wrongdoing, then both parties to the dispute shall appear before the Lord, before the priest and the judges who are in office in those days. The judge shall inquire diligently, and if the witness is a false witness and has accused his brother falsely, then you shall do to him as he had meant to do his brother. So you shall purge the evil from your midst, and the rest shall hear and fear, and shall never again commit such any evil among you. Man, when you expose a false witness, man, that comes with embarrassment, that comes with shame, and that's what people don't want. They don't want to be shamed, they don't want to be embarrassed, but they want to look honest, want to look righteous while bearing false witness. And the rest shall hear and fear, and shall never again commit any such evil among you. Your eye shall not pity. It shall be a life for a life, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, hand for a hand, foot for a foot. Man, what if we was moving in this? Forget what the laws of man say. Brother, you wanted my life. And I proved myself to be truthful and honest. And you lied on me. Think about that. You lied on me to make me look bad in front of my woman. So I could lose, so you could see me fall. Now, because you gave a false statement, your family will be torn apart. Oftentimes, this world is wicked, man. You see people give false statements all the time, and it's proven that it's false, and they just get to go live scot-free. And the internet is real good with that. A lot of these men, we're gonna address this at 3 p.m. A lot of men real good. They giving false statements, false testimony, false prophet, and when they get their card pulled, you find out, oh, they don't want to be dissected. They don't want to be seen as deceitful. They don't want to be examined. Let's examine. Let's look for that evidence. Man, that right there, Deuteronomy 19:16-21. That right there should humble you before bearing a false witness on somebody, no matter what your agenda is. Saying somebody stole something and you didn't even see it. Or being somebody that showed up on the scene after the fact. You see all this commotion, everybody getting on the news, camera going around. You like to give a witness testimony? It'd be better off to say, no, I didn't see anything. I just showed up. Versus sitting up there listening to what other people said and keeping it going. Same judgment that's issued on the person who you're putting a charge upon, same thing on you. That person get 20 years of life, your butt should get it. World lets this stuff just especially in Western culture, just let it slide on by. You got to think a lot of civil lawsuits behind lawlessness. People don't be pursuing criminal charges. It's all about the money. All these witnesses come forth when it's about some money. People got all these fabricated stories, and they coming out the woodwork. Me too. I saw something too. I got PTSD too. All behind some money. All behind some thing. 5 seconds of fame. Trying to get your book a following. Man, with all this stuff going on in the world right now, you got people out there that see people under judgment. And I'll talk about it. All of this stuff is not being fully examined yet. Even with P. Diddy, even with the worldly folk operating as heathen. It ain't been examined in full capacity yet. Floodgates opening. Oh yeah, I was Cassie's best friend. I witnessed it. All to try to build up a case and to exploit money. Hey, you give me $10,000, I won't say nothing. $10,000 shut me up. 1.2 million, I disappear. That's what people do. Mark chapter 14, verse 53-65. And they led Yahushua to the high priest, and all the chief priests and the elders and the scribes came together. And Peter had followed him at a distance right into the courtyard of the high priest, and he was sitting with the guards and warming himself at the fire. Now the chief priest and the whole council were seeking testimony against Yahushua to put him to death. They weren't looking for no truth, but they found none. For many bore false witness against him, but their testimony did not agree. When it was examined, did not agree. And some stood up and bore false witness against him, saying, we heard him saying, I will destroy this temple that is made with hands, and in 3 days I will rebuild another not made with hands. Yet even about this their testimony did not agree. And the high priest stood up in the midst and asked Yahushua, have you no answer to make? What is it that these men testify against you? But he remained silent and made no answer. Again, the high priest asked him, are you the Hamashiach, the son of the blessed? And Yahushua said, I am. And you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power and coming with the clouds of heaven. Imagine you're getting ready to be sentenced to death. You on death row. And they question you. You remain silent. The judge asks you, what do you have to say about yourself? Hey, you're going to see that I'm counted as righteous. You're going to see that I got some power that you ain't never witnessed, you ain't never experienced. To the carnally minded, you'll be like, what the heck is this fool talking about? And the high priest tore his garments and said, "What further witnesses do we need? You have heard his blasphemy." He didn't even really respond with too much, but they counted it as blasphemy. What is your decision? And they all condemned him as deserving death. And some began to spit on him and to cover his face and to strike him, saying, "Prophesy." And the guards received him with blows. So as they received him, boy, they was whooping tail, applying boot to rear end. 1 John chapter 2, verse 4. Whoever, this is another one right here. Man, I remember the whole time, as a young adult, early in my 20s, man, I could have told you up and down that I had a relationship with the Most High. I would have said all this stuff. God is good, Jesus is good, and all the time. Counting yourself as a child of the Most High, the whole time, you don't even realize you ain't walking in truth. Not walking in truth, not living righteous, sitting up here remembering stuff in the book. Sometimes you don't even want to read the book, but all you want people walking around and believe you got a relationship with the Most High. Yah. Whoever says I know him, but does not keep his commandments is a liar. And the truth is not in him. What day, time, and hour are we living in? People are trying to tell people not to keep the commandments of the Most High. People sit up and say, well, Jesus never mentioned it, without understanding that when he was addressing these people and he would reference commandments, he wasn't rewriting commandments. He was meeting these people where they are, showing them where they were deficient in their doggone walk. Well, Messiah only had 4 commandments. I mean, what? And people will warp people's mind and have people forfeiting all of the stuff that was counted as thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. People trying to tell you, well, you don't have to do that. The only difference you're going to find out, is the part where the animal sacrifices were being done and people kept on sinning, slaughtering another bull. That ain't going to get you nowhere. That ain't going to get you nowhere now. You know why? Because you are commanded to be the living sacrifice. Then we have Messiah, Hamashiach, is the high priest. That's a very weighty passage. You got a lot of people think they know him, and they only know of the deity that they've allowed somebody to tell them about. But they don't know who he actually is. Neither do they have interest in actually reading about, 4,000 years of history of righteousness, of things that occurred. You let people sit up and give you false statements about 3 wise men, about Christmas, about Easter. All of this stuff that you cannot find, evidence of anybody righteous doing. It tells you that the doggone penmanship of the scribes is in vain. People discard that. This is why you see some of the stuff that when you go, this is the reason why everything that is deemed in the New Testament, you see Messiah referencing the law of Moses. He wasn't referencing saying it was bad. Messiah wasn't referencing Paul. Man, you got to, in these last days, You have to hope that people want to be saved from their own wickedness. Own wickedness. All of this stuff right here that people face judgment for, and all some of these problems we have come from stuff that is in our control. Lying, lying on folk. And oftentimes the lying comes from a spirit of hatred, spirit of jealousy, covetousness, envy. Got people out here doing good, actually being a good example. And because you're jealous, because you're envious, because you're coveting after what they have. Here's another. When you draw the topic of polygyny, oh, you start to see the spirit of jealousy and covetousness come out in men. You start to see it. Start to see these men raise up against men who want what's in the book because you didn't pay the high price for a harlot. A woman that don't want to walk righteous. We got men out here trying to shame right now. We got men out here trying to shame the virgin women. Did a video talking about virgin auction block. I said, what kind of mess? So if you don't want your daughters to be virgins, what you want them to be? And then here come the videos, 4 hours, 3 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours. Everybody jumping in. We're gonna talk about it at 3 p.m. Man, if any of you guys have a link to any one of these brothers that's jumping on the bandwagon, man, push the video the live that I'm doing at 3 p.m. Push it out on your social media because I'm gonna speak to men. Speak to men. Men need to hear this. It ain't gonna be no sugarcoating. Ain't gonna be no kumbaya because we got a lot of brothers out here that have true potential. Every man or a woman has potential to be righteous. But it's, are you willing to apply yourself? Are you willing to have the kind of faith, the mind that the Most High Yah calls you to? Are you willing to be taught? Are you willing to have your iron sharpened? And most times we don't see that. We don't see it. So 3 p.m., that's just in about 55 minutes. I'll be coming back live. And I'm telling you, I'm coming with that heavy artillery. I'm telling you, I'm going to explain to you why men tuck tail and dodge, play doorbell ditch. There's a difference between doing that as a kid versus doing that as a grown man. And I see a lot of brothers that if they would just simply humble themselves, man, and then learn from the wise, man, they could be powerful men in Israel. Powerful, righteously powerful. But when you try to deem yourself as a subject matter expert and you don't have understanding or all understanding of what it is you're levying a charge about, man, you better be ready to get your card pulled. Better be ready to get your card pulled. Man, in these last days, you're going to be tested on stuff that most people call little. Little lies, little white lies. Oh, I ain't mean nothing by it. I wasn't trying to start nothing. Bearing false witness, giving false testimonies, lying on yourself. You got to understand, most people that give a false witness will lie on themselves in a heartbeat. But if you're honest about yourself and holding you accountable, being accountable as a man or woman, then 9 times out of 10, you're not as likely to bear false witness. But when you don't want to take accountability of your own transgressions, guess what you would try to do? call out other people's transgression, and have no understanding and be bearing false witness in the process. Let's go to the comments. All praise to the Most High Yah. We got John Charlemagne. Yeah, that's definitely I do man, I'm studying throughout the week, and sometimes it comes to me early in the week, sometimes it don't come till later in the week, the day before the Shabbat. But I didn't have no idea what Pastor Shepherd Mirror was going to teach about today. It just happens to line up like that, and it happens a lot of times, more times than often. That's key. So shout out John Charlemagne, Kimberly Gallardi, probably messed that up. We got McCoy White, Shabbat Shalom, Timothy Shropshire. We got Jamie Durant. Let's see who else. Maurice Delva. Shout out to you, man. I hope you guys enjoy your rest. Man, eat some food, relax. Even when your mind is focused on wanting to work, rebuke that, man, and sit down and just chill, relax, let your body recover. There'll be people probably tuning in, and they might be people negative in the comments. And hey, I still Shabbat Shalom. Hopefully one day you get on the path. Sometimes people aren't there, but we're going to address some stuff amongst men at 3 p.m. You do not want to miss this one. Closer to Yah Ministries, kicking that thing gun barrel straight.